Hey everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at 0.5.0. It's quite a big update today and a long video. I tend to like to keep the best stuff for last, so just bear with me and hang in there. So let us begin. So the first thing we're going to look at is the putting green. I've made some changes here, so you can see that this is a really boring putting green and your challenge factor across the board is almost zero. Before you would have had to saturate this thing with rocks and trees and sand traps in order to increase the challenge rating. But what I've done is add Modulation Detection to it, so if I add some bumps and divots and changes to the terrain here, these will get picked up and recognized as being challenging, so it actually makes it a little bit easier to make this more interesting and should encourage a bit more creativity. And you can see it's jumped up quite a bit just by adding a little bit of terrain variation here. I'll also add a few sand traps here, but nowhere near as much as I normally would have in the past. Just a little bit to kind of spice things up and freak the golfers out. Nothing that's going to get in their way. So the challenge rating's gone up quite a lot. So it's definitely a little bit more freeform now. You can build these however you want. I didn't really get the sense that any of the players were enjoying the putting green, so hopefully these changes encourage people to play around with them a bit more and get a bit more enjoyment out of them. I made some changes to the nature seeder so you can control whether or not it sprays down only bushes or trees. It just gives you a bit more control, and this is something that a lot of people were requesting. I've made a bunch of changes to actually playing on your course, so now you can see that clubs that are recommended are highlighted as such, and clubs that are not recommended are also highlighted as such. So you want to generally try to use the recommended clubs, but there's always clubs that are also valid. So if you look here, the iron is recommended, the wedge still works, but the driver really isn't recommended. So if you're getting greedy trying to hit those long hits, you might get lucky, but take a hard slice into the water. It wasn't recommended, but again, you might get lucky. I've also added some highlights here, so you can tell what objects are obstructing your manager's shot. Just a bit more feedback. So I've made a pretty major behavior change to these angle bumpers, so let's take a look at what the behavior looked like before. So it kind of just shoots off directly away from the thing, and it kind of doesn't feel right. So let's take a look at the new behavior. So now it's like correctly ricocheting off. So now you can set up much more predictable reactions this way, and I feel that this is a lot more intuitive. In addition to this, the bump force data had to change, so you're going to notice your bumpers are going to reset to default if you're loading up an old map. Sorry if this messes up some of your courses, but I think this is a good change. So here I've made a hole where I've got 3 different paths. So I've got a really easy one, an average kind of difficulty one, and a really rough one. And I would like that different skilled golfers go down these different routes. So if I click on these devices here, you can see that I've added a new slider here, which lets you control the type of golfers that can shoot through them. So by default, it's attractive to all golfers, or you can have it only attractive to high skill, medium skill, or low skill. So you basically set up easy, medium, and hard modes for your holes. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Low skill, average skill, high skill. This functionality works with all the devices, but it also works with the golf marker, so you don't have to build crazy devices in order to get this functionality. You can still build a classic multi-path hole if you want. So pretty much everything that had an attractiveness value to it can now be adjusted to cater to golfers with specific skills. I have a feeling people are really going to get a kick out of this, as it allows you to make a multi-path hole where golfers can graduate up to the harder sections as they improve their skills. I've also added a wood decorative set here, so you can see that I've got an arbor, a wooden windmill, and a well flower pot, and it's just more stuff for you to decorate your courses with. I've also added this cool gazebo for your golfers to hang out at, so it's kind of like a bench, but like a super bench, so it seats more people, and it's pretty, so you get double duty with the decorative effect. But this could be useful in a high traffic area where you got golfers coming and going all over the place. I've also added this hideous structure here, and rather than describe what it does, I'm just going to show you. So this happens every night, and everyone on the island will see this and get a little bit happier. It also takes the bite out of having to pay daily upkeep. Oh, daily upkeep. Explosions make everything better, though. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the new crazy devices. So I added these little ground pads that can speed the ball along in the direction that they're pointing. course, you can rotate them around. And of course, after I added the speed pads, I really couldn't help myself. And of course, devices are best used in combination. So let's take a look at something truly crazy here. Right to the green. Well, that's all we have for today, folks. I really hope you enjoyed this update. As usual, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that wasn't included in the video, but they're included in the patch notes, so go and take a look at the patch notes if you're interested in the extra stuff. See you next time, everybody.